The veil over humanity has been deliberately placed, and only the chosen can see beyond it. This veil is not something physical, yet it is more real than anything that can be touched. It is woven with distraction, illusion, and manipulation. From the moment we are born, this veil begins to settle over our perception. It is embedded in the systems we are told to trust: education, media, religion, politics. These systems do not simply inform or support life, they control it. They shape thought, define reality, and construct boundaries that keep most people unaware of their true nature. The veil makes the false appear true and the true appear insane. It blinds the masses, not with darkness, but with artificial light, entertainment, routine, noise, and endless stimulation that drown out inner clarity. It convinces people that what they can see, touch, and quantify is all that exists. It creates a prison without bars, where souls are held captive by belief systems that were never their own to begin with. The chosen are not above others. They are not better, but they are different. They are the ones who have been able to sense the hollowness behind the world's noise. They are the ones who questioned what others blindly accepted. They are the ones who felt out of place, not because they were lost, but because they were seeing something real in a world built on illusion. They notice patterns, synchronicities, invisible threads pulling them toward a deeper understanding. The chosen are the ones who, even in childhood, felt like something was not quite right, even if they couldn't explain it. While others were satisfied with surface answers, they were restless for something deeper. They felt the ache of the unspoken, the pull of the unknown, the weight of truths that no one around them seemed to notice. This ability to see through the veil is both a gift and a burden. It isolates and awakens. It alienates and empowers. Once the veil begins to lift, there is no way to return to ignorance. The world no longer looks the same. The smiles seem forced, the routines robotic, the conversations hollow. The chosen see the cracks in the system, the glitches in the matrix. They sense the artificiality of the roles people play, the lies embedded in the news, the manipulation behind advertisements, the unconscious rituals that govern society. They begin to feel like actors in a script they never agreed to. The more they awaken, the more they see that the veil was never just over the world, yet it was also over their own minds, their own beliefs, their own identities. The unveiling becomes an internal revolution. This unveiling process is not sudden. It happens in layers, often triggered by pain, betrayal, or sudden loss. These events act as cracks in the illusion, moments where the soul is shaken out of sleep. The chosen begin to ask different questions about reality, about self, about purpose. They are drawn to forgotten knowledge, ancient wisdom, spiritual truths hidden in plain sight. They begin to decode the symbols all around them: numbers, dreams, messages from the universe. The chosen often find themselves experiencing moments of deep clarity, where everything seems connected. These moments are fleeting at first, but they multiply over time. As the veil thins, they begin to recognize the energies behind events, the intentions behind words, the truth behind appearances. They develop a heightened sense of intuition, a kind of spiritual sight that bypasses logic and taps directly into knowing. But awakening has its price. The world resists those who see clearly. Friends become distant. Family members think they've changed. The chosen are accused of being paranoid, delusional, or too intense. They may experience emotional isolation, spiritual warfare, and psychological exhaustion. The veil fights back. It uses fear, doubt, guilt, and shame to pull them back into compliance. The chosen must learn to stand alone, to walk through darkness with faith in what cannot be seen. They must unlearn everything they were taught and rebuild their inner world from the ground up. This requires immense courage and resilience. Many try to go back to sleep, but they cannot. The illusion no longer satisfies. The hunger for truth becomes unquenchable. As the veil lifts, the chosen begin to understand the deeper game being played. They realize that everything they went through, every pain, every confusion, every setback was part of a divine design. They were being refined, not destroyed. They were being prepared to carry a message, to hold a light, to stand in truth when truth would become rare. They see how history has been distorted, how language has been weaponized, how spirituality has been commercialized. They begin to reclaim their power, not through dominance, but through awareness. They do not seek to convince others, but to embody truth so deeply that it cannot be denied. They become bridges between worlds, between the seen and unseen, the known and the forgotten. The more they awaken, the more they connect with others who have also seen through the veil. These connections are not random. They are soul encounters, reunions of those who made agreements long before this lifetime. The chosen recognize each other through energy, through resonance, through unspoken understanding. When two awakened souls meet, there is no need for small talk. They speak in code, in silence, in shared memory. These connections strengthen their purpose. They realize they are not alone. They are part of a hidden network, a spiritual resistance rising quietly across the planet. This network does not need leaders or followers. It is guided by inner truth. It transcends race, religion, and geography. It is bound by frequency. This frequency cannot be faked. It cannot be taught in schools or acquired through credentials. It comes from within. It is activated by pain, by seeking, by surrender. The chosen carry this frequency, and it speaks louder than words. It is what draws them to this message, this moment. It is what allows them to receive truths others will instantly reject. It is what gives them the courage to break free from collective programming and live by a higher code. They begin to walk differently, speak differently, think differently. They are no longer governed by fear of rejection, fear of failure, or fear of death. They know they are more than this body, more than this lifetime, more than this world. The veil was necessary for a time. It kept humanity from self-destruction. It allowed for certain lessons to unfold. But that time is ending. The age of awakening has arrived, and with it, the chosen are being activated at an accelerated pace. Their dreams are intensifying, their inner knowing is deepening, and their callings are becoming impossible to ignore. They are being prepared for what is to come, not through force, but through remembrance. They are remembering who they were before the world told them who to be. They are remembering why they came here. They are remembering the mission encoded in their souls. The veil is lifting, the illusion is crumbling, and only the chosen will see what lies beneath. Isolation, pain, and spiritual attacks were not punishments, they were tests to awaken your divine code. The journey of the chosen one is not paved with ease or validation. It begins with confusion, with separation, with an unshakable sense of being different. Before awareness ever arises, the soul of the chosen is marked by hardship. The earliest memories often include feelings of not belonging, of being unseen or misunderstood, while others seem to find comfort in crowds and normalcy. The chosen one wrestles with an invisible ache, a deep, unspoken knowing that life must be more than what is shown. That take becomes the first whisper of a higher calling, and the suffering becomes the key that unlocks torment knowledge buried deep within the spirit. Pain is not random for the chosen, it has always been a portal. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the abandonment, they were all designed to shatter illusions. Every crack in the heart allowed more truth to pour in. While others complain about life being unfair, the chosen slowly begin to understand that the pain is not there to destroy, but to strip away all that is false. Every emotional wound carves space for light. Every failure is a mirror reflecting inner strength. The deeper the pain, the deeper the potential for awakening. The chosen ones were never cursed. They were being trained in silence, forged through fire, prepared for a mission far beyond the comprehension of those around them. Isolation was not an accident either. It was a sacred cocoon. It separated the chosen from the noise, from the crowd, from the illusions that most people are immersed in. The loneliness they felt was not because they were unworthy of love or friendship, but because the universe needed to pull them away from what would distract them. True awakening cannot happen when the soul is constantly entangled in the expectations, judgments, and energies of the collective. That's why the chosen often walk alone. Their silence becomes a sanctuary, their solitude a teacher. In the quiet, their soul begins to remember ancient truths. In the emptiness, their spirit begins to rise. They feel things others cannot feel. They hear what others ignore. They sense shifts in energy, changes in the atmosphere, and messages and symbols that seem invisible to most. The more they are alone, the more they become aligned with their inner truth. Spiritual attacks are the third form of initiation. These are not just negative thoughts or bad days. These are targeted energies meant to confuse, drain, and dismantle the chosen one's spirit. They often come during moments of breakthrough or transformation. Just when the chosen one is on the verge of clarity, the storm appears. These attacks can manifest as depression, anxiety, nightmares, and sudden emotional darkness. They can also take the form of people agents of confusion, chaos, and temptation sent to knock the chosen off their path. These are not coincidences. The more light a soul carries, the more resistance it encounters. Darkness is not threatened by those who follow the crowd. It is threatened by those who begin to think for themselves, to feel for themselves, to live from a place of soul and not system. The chosen ones are warriors of frequency, and every spiritual attack is both a battle and a lesson in energetic mastery. In the heat of these attacks, many chosen ones begin to doubt themselves. They question their sanity, their purpose, their strength. But even in the lowest moments, something inside them refuses to give up. That something is the divine code, an indestructible blueprint of truth embedded in their very being. It cannot be erased or corrupted. It can only be activated, and pain is the activator. When the chosen cry out in agony, when they collapse in surrender, when they beg for answers from the depths of their soul, they unknowingly open doors within themselves that were long sealed. The light begins to seep through the cracks. They start to remember who they are, not through logic or information, but through feeling, through knowing, through resonance. The divine code begins to unlock with every breakdown, every sleepless night, every silent prayer whispered into the void. This awakening doesn't make life easier. In fact, it often makes it more intense. The chosen begin to see through the falsehoods of the world. They can no longer tolerate lies, manipulation, or superficiality. They start shedding relationships, environments, and habits that no longer align. This shedding is painful. It can feel like losing everything, but in reality, it is making space for everything real to enter. The divine code rewires the chosen's perception. It shifts their values, their desires, their instincts. They begin to crave truth, depth, connection, and purpose over approval, comfort, or safety. They become drawn to things others consider strange, yet sacred texts, ancient symbols, energy work, solitude, nature, dreams, and intuition. They become students of the unseen and defenders of what is sacred. The divine code also brings unexpected strength. Chosen ones often discover that they can endure far more than they ever imagined. They survive what would break others. They rise from places others are buried in. Their resilience is not just mental, it is spiritual. It is written in their energy, in their DNA, and their destiny. This strength is not meant to create arrogance, but humility. It humbles them to realize that their survival was never just for themselves. It was so they could help others. It was so they could shine light in the places they once feared. It was so they could speak truths that others are too afraid to voice. The chosen become channels of healing, of wisdom, of awakening, and not because they are perfect, but because they are real. Their scars become symbols of survival, their wounds become sources of wisdom, and their pain becomes the platform from which they elevate others. The divine code doesn't unlock all at once, it unfolds in layers, in phases, in divine timing. Each test is designed not just to challenge but to upgrade. Each battle leaves behind a gift, a clearer vision, deeper intuition, stronger boundaries, greater compassion. The chosen learn that there is purpose in every delay, meaning in every mess, and guidance in every silence. They begin to move through life differently. They no longer chase validation or external success. They seek alignment, peace, purpose. They understand that their role is not to fit into the world, but to help change it. They were never meant to be part of this system. They were meant to disrupt it, to awaken it, to rebuild it. The isolation, the pain, and the spiritual warfare were not signs of failure, but signs of initiation. Each one was a rite of passage, a sacred fire through which the soul was purified, refined, and revealed. The chosen are often misunderstood because they carry light in places that are still asleep. Their presence triggers others, not because they are doing harm, but because they are doing something real. That realness disturbs the illusion. It exposes what has been hidden. It reveals what others are not ready to see. But this is the work of the chosen, to see the unseen, to carry the pain of awakening, to survive what others cannot, to walk through fire and come out shining, to endure the silence, the storms, the shadows, to listen when no one else is listening, to feel when others are numb, to rise when all odds are stacked against them, and to remember, again and again, that none of this was punishment, it was preparation. A cosmic shift is near, and the chosen ones are being called to lead, protect, and guide others through the darkness. This is not just a metaphorical moment, but a real vibrational change that has already begun rippling through the fabric of the earth and collective consciousness. The energy is shifting, timelines are collapsing, and dimensions are overlapping. What was hidden is being revealed. What was suppressed is rising to the surface. Systems are breaking down not because of failure, but because they were never built on truth. The collapse is part of the awakening. It's part of the greater design that must unfold before the new world can emerge. The chaos is not the end, it is the cleansing. The darkness is not winning, it is unraveling. And within this storm, the chosen are hearing the call loud and clear. This call is not heard with the ears, it is felt deep within the soul. It arrives in waves, sometimes in dreams, sometimes in synchronicities, sometimes in a sudden urge to change everything. It cannot be ignored. It stirs something ancient, something primal, something divine. The chosen begin to feel a sense of urgency that others do not understand. They become more sensitive to energies, more aware of timelines, more detached from the distractions of the material world. Things that once entertained them feel empty. Relationships that once defined them feel misaligned. Their soul starts to crave mission, truth, and impact. This inner pull is the signal that the cosmic shift has entered its activation phase. The chosen are not called because of title, status, or perfection. They are called because their spirit is prepared not in the eyes of the world, but in the eyes of the divine. The years of pain, isolation, confusion, and growth were not delays, they were preparation. The chosen have walked through the fire, questioned everything, stripped themselves bare of illusions, and now carry the codes required for this time. These codes are not information, they are frequencies. They are embedded in the way the chosen walk, speak, listen, and love. They hold vibrations that awaken others just through presence. They are not here to preach, but to embody. Their very existence becomes a signal, a lighthouse, a reminder of what is real in a world built on what is not. The cosmic shift affects all beings, but not all beings are ready to respond. That's where the chosen come in. They are the ones who can remain grounded when others panic, who can hold light when others are swallowed by fear. They are the ones who can feel the unseen, navigate the unknown, and speak truth even when surrounded by lies. This is not a time for hiding. It is a time for stepping into visibility, and not for ego, but for service. The chosen must become visible so that others can remember who they are. Each awakened soul activates others simply by standing in their authenticity. Each act of courage becomes a ripple in the matrix of illusion. Each refusal to bow to fear becomes a beacon of the truth. As the old world unravels, people will begin to feel lost. Their belief systems will collapse. Their comfort zones will vanish. The illusions they clung to will no longer hold weight. This is when the chosen are most needed, not to fix or save, but to guide. Guidance doesn't always mean instruction. Sometimes it means being present. Sometimes it means holding space. Sometimes it means speaking hard truths with love. The chosen must cultivate discernment, so they know when to speak and when to remain silent, when to act and when to observe. Their role is not to dominate, but to illuminate, not to judge, but to understand, not to impose, but to inspire. Their leadership is rooted in humility, in empathy, in divine timing. The guidance they offer comes from a higher source. It is not based on opinion or agenda, but on intuition and divine instruction. The chosen begin to access a deeper form of knowing, a one that bypasses the mind and flows directly from source. This knowing helps them navigate the chaos with clarity. They begin to understand patterns others miss. They sense the meaning behind events, the reason behind delays, the hidden hand behind disruptions. They know when to wait and when to move. They become masters of energy, not through control, but through alignment. This mastery is what makes them trustworthy leaders in the time of global transition. As the darkness intensifies, It will try to silence the chosen. It will try to exhaust, confuse, distract, and discredit them. This is why spiritual discipline becomes essential. The chosen must guard their energy, protect their frequency, and stay rooted in their spiritual practices. They must know their triggers, strengthen their intuition, and remain connected to their higher guidance at all times. The mission is sacred, and the interference will be relentless, but the chosen were born for this. They have faced spiritual attacks before. They have risen from betrayal, from loss, from ridicule, from despair. Every wound has strengthened them. Every fall has refined them. Every delay has prepared them. Now is the time to remember everything they've been through, and not as trauma, but as training. Many of the chosen will be called to specific roles during this shift. Some will be healers, restoring bodies, minds, and spirits. Some will be messengers, revealing truths that others are too afraid to speak. Some will be bridge builders, uniting communities, generations, and belief systems. Some will be spiritual warriors, standing between darkness and light with unwavering resolve. Others will serve quietly, holding sacred space in the background. Their energy alone is stabilizing force. Every role matters. No assignment is small. The chosen must resist the urge to compare or compete. Unity is the only frequency that can withstand a storm. The chosen are many, but they are one in spirit. This unity is what the darkness fears most. It thrives on division, on separating the awakened, making them doubt each other, turning them against themselves. But when the chosen recognize each other, support each other, and work together, their power multiplies. The grid strengthens, the light expands, the timelines shift, the future bends toward love. This is the essence of the cosmic mission: to realign Earth with divine frequency, to restore what was lost, to rebuild what was broken, to remember what was forgotten. It is not about escaping the world, but transforming it from within. The chosen are not perfect, and they are not meant to be. They are human and divine, flawed and radiant, learning and leading at once. They carry the codes of change not because they are better, but because they are willing to be misunderstood, willing to be judged, willing to be alone, willing to be different, willing to lose what is false in order to protect what is true. This willingness is what sets them apart. It is what allows the divine to move through them, speak through them, act through them. They are vessels, conduits, and anchors of a new frequency being born on earth. This frequency cannot be faked, it cannot be copied, it is not found in books or institutions. It lives within the soul. It is accessed through surrender, activated through courage, and strengthened through integrity. The chosen carry this frequency, and they are being positioned in precise places across the planet. Some in cities, some in deserts, some in mountains, some in forests. Each one exactly where they need to be. Their presence alone shifts the vibration of their environment. Their energy speaks to those who have forgotten who they are. Their truth disrupts the illusions of those still asleep. They are catalysts, not controllers, mirrors, not masters, messengers, not rulers. The cosmic shift is not coming up, it is here. The signs are everywhere. The veils are thinning. The timelines are merging. The energy is intensifying. This is not the end, but the beginning. A new age is rising. A new earth is forming. And the chosen are its midwives, its guardians, its guides. They have heard the call. They have answered the summons. And now they must rise not with fear, but with faith, not with arrogance, but with reverence, not for themselves, but for all that you were never meant to blend in with this world because your soul was designed to awaken it. Every pain you endured, every moment of silence, every spiritual battle was not in vain. It was shaping you, refining you, and preparing you for this exact time. The chaos you see unfolding around you is not your enemy, it is the signal that your mission has begun. You are not here by coincidence. You were chosen long before you were born, marked with a frequency that cuts through illusion and awakens truth. The world may not understand you, but the universe recognizes you, and in this sacred moment, you are being reminded of who you are and why you came. This is your time to rise, not to prove, not to perform, but to remember, reclaim, and realign. Walk forward with courage, lead with love, and protect your light. Others will look to you, not because you demanded attention, but because your energy will be the calm in the storm, the clarity in the confusion, the truth in the noise. Thank you for listening to this message. If you felt it resonate in your soul, know this was meant for you. Thank you for surviving the fire, for embracing the silence, for carrying the light when no one saw it. You are not alone, you never were. And now, you walk with purpose. Until we meet again, stay aligned, stay aware, and stay chosen. With love, truth, and deep gratitude. Thank you.